Good morning, class. Welcome to Homeroom with Unc and Market Monk.
Morning, P. How was your week?
It was good. I'm pretty light with the short weeks, and kind of mess with you, and just got a lot of confirmation we were just, sticking in this 3-3-2 market for a while. Um, Kind of letting some earnings play out, and looking for how things react. UNH is a big one. Hit that a few times on Thursday after the fact, and I'm just gonna wait on that one. And then crypto, MSTR still reacting around the pivots. Had some smalls did well. Hertz been in that for a long time. Just held up nicely, and then popped off large, and that's sort of the park and wait mentality that I've been in smalls for a while.
Yeah, that was where my week was at. Hurts definitely a big winner to end the week, and then TMC same thing at the beginning of the week, just staying on the names, updating the flow, and I take simple notes with the flow, just like where is it at, and that one went from the 2 to 2.5 to the 3 to 3.5, and then kind of delivered in the actual move of the stock. So yeah, good day, good week for hanging out. Kind of a boring week. I'm definitely still with you in the 3-2 market, and not that we're out of it, but I think people aren't aware that when we do get out of it or start to get out of it, there's going to be a couple tie days. It's not going to be 3-2,
Yeah,
3-2 down or up. There's going to be some flat days before you actually turn, and I think we got a couple of those last week, or something leading to that way. So the good consolidation on charts last week. Healthy market for me. Just need a little more volume. I think it was a little light last week. Other than that, yeah, and then short week kind of messes with everything you do. But not a bad week for trading, in my opinion. Just kind of have to be, as we said before, like, I guess not greedy. I don't want to say quick with the profits, but you got to know what you're trading, the range you're trading, and why you're trading it. And if you don't have a news of it, um, like with Hertz, like with TMC, the rinse and repeat's probably the best right now. So yeah, good week for me in the charts, I like what I see out there as well. So
yeah, and TMC is a good example. I had someone ask me about the boxing glove emoji, and um, that I do in the notes, and basically it just means sort of 1-2 punch, and what it is, there's there's going to be two strikes, or sometimes more, but um, you get two different expirations. They stagger the strike, so it goes up 2.5 C. And in TMC's case, the later ones was three, was up to five in in leaps. So it's indicative of a sustained move of momentum, or whatever you want to call it. And often what's going to happen is it's gonna pop into a range in between those two numbers. So if the TA is right, then those tend to be some of the better ones. And really, it for me, as far as sizing goes, uh, I had several cells on TMC, and then I had some I was willing to give some room, and that's really where I want to be mentally with those smalls. If I see something bigger brewing, I can let some of it go and give it some room, and it's not a position that stresses me out. That's how I like to do those. I don't like to be on the minute chart. I like to sort of wait for something big. And same with Hertz, your 2-3% days. Not really what I'm after. I mean, if I'm in John Deere options, 2-3% days are exactly what I'm looking for. But with Hertz, we talked about that sector, something brewing there, and I thought maybe merger acquisition, but it just ended up being a Ackman, I guess it was,
yeah,
just taking this big position. And so that's another thing that can move those. Been through that with Chewy and several others. So um, can't time that. So you got to have a position you're comfortable with sitting on for a while. It still follows your rules. I mean, there's a point at which you'd cut something, but um, yeah, those take some patience, and it's a good lesson to learn. Even if you got 10 shares, see that process play out a few times, and you'll get better at dealing with it.
Yes, I definitely. I mean, that's the first thing that comes to my mind in that conversation. The sizing's most important. It's.
Yeah,
I would go farther than the minute chart, even if it's something that you have to monitor every single day, and that honestly you're not willing to add to. If that's not kind of like your mentality, like where can I buy more? Your sizing's too big. I mean, that's probably the easiest way now I think about it to know if your sizing's too big. Are you willing to buy more? Or are you thinking you need to sell it because it's too emotionally draining? And yeah, 10 shares there, 100 shares there, whatever. Like a 1 share gang, I don't care. You as you say, use the work in the regards to those, and especially when there's a thesis. It's one thing for the chart's good and the flow's good. Okay, now what? But we do come up with some actual really good theses, and both of those fit the bill. Just with TMC being a small rare earth materials being needed, and then the Hertz with. I really thought Carvana or Avis or someone was going to merge with them, but
yeah,
I'll take the Ackman, the pump
right.
or whatever any day of the week. It
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah, right.
you just for that one's a little different. Like TMC's total, you know, totally like we have a thesis, find something in the sector, what looks good. Where Hertz was like, this chart's being manipulated in this price range for some reason, and then we just get to the something's up. A lot of movement in the sector. Is it going out of business? I think you said that a few weeks
Yeah.
ago, and when it's a no, it's real easy to hang out in. But back to the main point, easiest way to know if you got your sizing right once again is if you're thinking about I need to sell it, you're too big, and if you're over there thinking about where you can add the next chunk, you probably are doing it the right way. So a good mental check there for me.
And I think knowing what kind of thesis it is matters too. Like there's a thesis on like an individual name, Kubo, for example. I haven't really had a lot of moments where it's like all streaming, full send. That's not really how that sector operates. I mean, even Netflix, Roku used to be a little more linked together. Um, Not anymore, but Roku's got hardware and all that. But Fubo, we've nailed it several times, and it has to do with their very cheap major player in the whole streaming thing. And it's a much different kind of trade than Disney. Again, Disney has all this other stuff going on, so it's not like it is with weed or lithium or something like that. And lithium's kind of a good example of where you're willing to keep adding, because there's a big thesis at play here that might be 3 to 5 year idea, and so that's an even different um, kind of thing than what we're talking about here. And then I think too something that we're pretty good at is adapting to like changes in the sector over time as winners and losers separate. Um, Weed and solar come to mind here. There are solar stocks that we've done very well in that we'll probably never touch again because of what's gone on in that sector, like Nova. But then you can get like out of that, you can get some clarity. We're on different weed names than we used to be. So as the market kind of takes shape, it to me it's been something I've just to learn as as I've gone that I've essentially been in bull market for a really long time at this point, and we're pulling back, and I'm still not calling it a bear market yet. I don't know about you, but to watch a lot of these stocks just fall apart and die during this, I'm kind of learning a lot about yes how companies have processed and reacted to higher interest rates, and there's been a lag, and we're just seeing like some of them are just kind of having to face the music where they were sort of along for the ride with the market for for quite a while.
Yeah, from a company standpoint, I mean, it's a different business environment than it was 5 years ago, and
Yeah.
the creation of all stocks are shit. I mean, it's more than just a saying. It came from why would someone sell their company if or break their company up into a 100 million pieces if it was so good, um, and there is that's I mean it doesn't fit for everybody. There is some good well run companies. There's a lot of well run companies, but there's also a lot of companies that are just cash burns, ideas so to speak,
Yeah.
that aren't handling this environment well. And I haven't really talked about it a lot, but I remember when inflation came out, we were like, well, that's going to have to, adjust into the market just on the price of, if a dollar's worth $1.20 now, then the stock that was worth a dollar needs to be valued at $1.20. Getting that upward movement in the charts is one thing, but those processes. The reason I bring that up is because those processes, just like turning from a bull to bear market, usually take a big amount of time. And your ox analogy, your old school turning an ox analogy around, fits
Yeah.
that well. Um, and that's why I just refuse to think we're currently in a bear market. But there's some companies that are going to get flushed out. When you brought up kind of the sector history, I think crypto's great. There's some crypto names we traded mainly. I mean, they were like the highlights
Yeah.
two or three cycles ago, about a year and a half ago, that we don't even mention anymore. They're probably not even listed. um, and
Right,
that's
right.
just the
I've had
market
that.
had.
I'll
Go
go
ahead.
back and check sometimes. Like the I haven't seen flow on this thing in 18 months. I almost forgot about it. What's going on with this? And then the stock's just gone.
Yep.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I mean we kind of stress like you know hang out a little bit more in the blue chips or the secondary names, and then just trade the charts. Don't get you don't become what was the MMLTP people. Don't become them.
Oh yeah.
Don't
Right.
become a conspiracy theorist on a
Exactly.
stock. And I mean, if you are going to do that, make sure it's a Tesla, Nvidia, or something with a little bigger fish, not
Yeah.
not Nikola or Heminex. Don't do that.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I think like someone brought up Wish the other day. I don't know if you ever made money on Wish. I did a couple times. But there were real believers in them. Like, and so I think people, they buy a small cap and they can really easily talk themselves into thinking that this is the future, um, and it can really it can really blow up. That kind of stuff goes to zero a lot slower than options do. Um,
Yeah, well, it's a
but
waste of time. You'd be
yeah,
better off if it went straight to zero. I mean,
right,
because if not, you're in this cycle of like it's following the new. You're just putting a lot of work in on a stock that's gonna bleed out. Um, for me
yeah,
right now, I mean I got over that in my career a long time ago, so I don't have like an example of me getting sucked in um,
yeah,
to anything recently. But I got the other end nailed. So like Budweiser and Chewy, come search our group for that. Come follow that. Like look at those during this pullback or whatever you want to call this. If you do think it's a bear market, go look at those two charts. Get back to me. You just find better companies along the way and um, stick with those versus the hype trains or the ideas.
yeah. Sentiment on Budweiser was about as bad as it gets when we got into that, and it was just I had some historical levels, and I could tell the whales flipped on it. So
Well, even at 60,
that
someone was asking me like, "Are we going to get rid of this here?" And I was like, "Well, we just made it back to like center mass. Like
right,
this is
exactly.
the
Yep.
blue chip of beer. It's coming off a shitty news cycle with the Dylan Mulvaney stuff. Like we're having a renaissance in this country. What do you mean? Am I selling it? I mean, there was just no signs to ever point to sell that, and there still isn't to this day. So, um, That's kind of why we
Yeah,
stay on those names. It's because you're looking for that. A lot of these names that are decent companies or have something proprietary or they're needed. We talk about it in SaaS a lot, where they're just needed. You're not getting rid of them. Um, we're constantly looking for that best generational entry. You know, we want the Tesla hundreds there. We want the Facebook 80s there. I guess it's Meta now, but um,
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
that's. I
that's
mean,
yeah, that's the thing. Like with SaaS in particular, and then I'll get on to some boring stuff. But like if they're running your HR or they're running your cybersecurity, and they're plugged into that. Um, those are going to have a lot more strength than the idea SaaS that integrates your Google Calendar. These sort of they're almost like parasite companies that like they're latched on to existing apps and they just sort of move them around for you. And there are dozens and dozens of companies like that. It's why I read what companies do instead of just playing the price action. Because when you get in pullbacks like this, that really matters a lot. And we saw the way that the cyber stocks reacted, or database stocks like Snow. That they took a big drop, but just right back to a level, and that level's holding. We regroup and go back up, as opposed to the ones that just sort of just waterfall out and stay down. And that's in lean times, you really have to look at what they actually do, and if subscribers are likely to just ditch them.
yeah, it's a level you're not going to find on the minute chart. And not to jump to
Yeah.
another topic, but it's my favorite thing going around Twitter right now is larger time frame biased. That's what they're. That's how they're. That's their
Mm.
smart sentence they're saying out there on the Twitter words, and it's like, yeah, no shit. I've been preaching multiple time frame for like 5 years on this goddamn thing, and um, that's where the real levels come from. And if you know that where they are, you have some things you can look at. You'll know how to react and respond when they actually get there. But let's get boring, P.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna start with oil, because oil kind of came off the mat a bit, and a lot of buys I had paid off for me with the smaller ones, Devon and XC's been good. A couple of Oxy's just trying buying it, but kind of below equilibrium, and then it getting back to that is sort of what I've been after with that one. But yeah, so it made a bit of a push, kind of mid candle on this big drop, this drop it had. And to me, sort of get back into the 68 to 72, 75 range. That's what I'm looking for it to break back into. And um, so I like a lot where a lot of those are. And I think to me it's big names. I think you do fine. Exxon around $100, I think is good. And then there's with smalls, you just want to be picky and look at the setup. And that's what I'm after. I've been throwing a couple your way. We'll probably talk about some in the next session. So um, yeah, I think oil's in pretty good shape. It was pouting. Trump doesn't talk about them. They feel left out, but I think it's fine. You need stability with this chart. You don't need it to do a moonshot for those stocks to do really well.
Yeah, I think they're definitely over pushing an oversold sector and pouting off the lack of a drill baby drill bill being signed.
Yeah,
And soon, I mean, that's all that really needs. It's not business models. They're gonna the whole sector is gonna be the ones that go into this season and do really well because their numbers are gonna be fine. It's just market sentiment that's dragging it back. The only negative I have for oil is in a perfect world for this administration, it would be $60. I mean, they want cheap gas, they want cheap oil, so
yeah.
that's the only thing that is like a negative check for me in the sector. But short term, especially ERs, I think this time around are going to do really well.
And we can consolidate around 60, and those stocks can do very well. They sort of just adjust to that, and there's a lot of um, land deals and things that have been going on with these oil companies that are going to play out. I mean, there's a lag there, and some of the restructuring they've done in West Texas. I also think too, it's time to look at some specifics of um, the deep sea drilling and Canada, and then midstreams and pipelines and tankers. So I'm looking forward to it. There's just going to be a lot of movement within the sector coming up, and so I'm going to just read that and give us some setups there. So yeah, I'm liking the sector. It's a complicated sector, always has been, but I definitely enjoy that one.
Yeah, I was like the shippers, midstream,
Yep.
maintenance people, those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And gold and silver. We're almost there. It's by 3,400. So we're not even halfway through the year. That was just my big shot call, I guess that you could say. That and that it would do better than Bitcoin. That read I think was sort of easy, but yeah, calling out the number, pretty good about. I'm good about that. A lot of people have noticed gold at this point, and people are looking for. Now I see people trying to call the top on gold. Um, I don't really see how you can do that. It's I mean, the economic conditions driving the move have not really altered that much. Yeah, charts will pull back and breathe. So the good thing here is that even if gold is going to cool off and consolidate for a bit, um, a lot of those charts aren't exactly overbought to me with those miners. So there's still opportunities there, and I kind of rotate out of one and look for another one. Usually, like for me, it goes big to small. So it's like well on NEM and gold, and then I start to look for Kinross or whoever, and just sort of move down the list, and gold silver combos or whatever. But yeah, gold just same old, just making a big run here. So I don't know what your view is on that.
um, you just got to be not picky with the charts, but there's some charts with some more range than some other charts that have kind of had a really good move. I do think the numbers in general, though, for these guys, like they turn off and on the mining based on the price of gold, and there's a break even point, and I think a lot of them are way above that break even point currently. So
Yeah.
those numbers will be a little delayed. Like if you're mining it today, you're not selling it till Christmas or something like that.
Right.
So yeah, I like um, not only the sector, but the continuation of the metals in general. I mean, for gold, even though I like silver a little better, which I'm sure is next, gold is it's real hard for it to have bad news. Like what's the news going to be in gold that makes it horrible? It's just there's really not a lot of it's not FUD proof, but in the current climate, it really is kind of FUD proof. So continuation.
Yeah, you're not going to get a all of a sudden like supply is not going to explode because we make some big gold discovery. It's not it's not how it works. So yeah, it's yeah, again, the geopolitical, it thrives on geopolitical uncertainty. You think that's going to change anytime
Yes,
soon? I
it's
mean,
one
yeah.
consistent. Yeah, so I'm
What?
just stay with them, and then the combo names,
Yeah.
the names that have multiple streams will probably just do better in the long run. But a lot of the gold charts P are gone. Like where you
Oh yeah.
been?
Right. Right. And as I will say too, as if we do get a pullback in consolidation, there's a lot of stocks that they're into mining, but they're like middlemen. Like they process gold and hold it, and they're basically midstream of the mining world, and so those are ones that can take a big leg up. I found a few of those. WPM be one of them, but yeah, I do think though silver's kind of where it's at, and it was because of that drop it had, which is like a gift to me. But it's still in this 30 to 36 move, and can break out much higher than that into the 40s later this year. So they are positioned for that to happen to me. 36 breakout. So I still got my eyes on that. Can park down here for a while. That's just a chance to build some positions to me. Really healthy down.
From a chart standpoint, I've been trading gold and AG, and entirely two different trades. And AG's been more profitable just because of the volatility in the range. So that's just kind of how I see the sectors overall. Um, for me.
Yeah, silver great for traders. I like buying physical silver more than gold. Just you get more of it. It sort of feels more substantial. I buy like a 10th ounce gold coin, and it's this little
Yeah,
like a little dime.
it's a wafer.
So yeah. But yeah. So and then I'll go to copper. Yeah, copper did well off my level, and things look pretty solid here. Just I'll get to any kind of news about building stuff, infrastructure. A lot of things can move copper. A lot going on with tariffs and supply and um, things like that. So American companies, and I would say South America too. If I were to say like who's going to get the best deal with Trump, it's some South American countries and India. Those are the two that obviously are to me are going to do that. He's going to play a little harder with Europe and then China, obviously. But yeah, there's definitely some opportunities here for the copper stocks.
And there's some rumblings, so to speak, in the media area about how China and our economy aren't totally different and they're not dependent on each other, but that China uses their profit to build infrastructure, and we haven't done that. And hopefully, that works its way all the way up to the executive branch, and they actually pass something, even if it's something like the Build Back Better. That's all you really need for the sector, um, for copper, aluminum, steel, all that stuff to really get moving. Just that lack of news and borderline world recession looming still. I mean, we're still talking about a hard or soft landing, and
Yeah.
I think
Well,
without
and I'll
that
say
news,
too,
we're just not getting the movement in the commodities.
with copper stocks, it's just need the perception that infrastructure is going to take off. It doesn't. It's not like FCX has to invoice people and get the bill paid for the stuff they're selling. If people see the idea, oh shit, we're going to start ramping up these infrastructure projects, and I think too if to me I think about this with oil too that if Trump's approval rate dips to a point where he cares and notices it, the best way to get out of that is government spending. So yeah, and Republicans and Democrats both do it, even though Republicans act like they're the the frugal ones. It's just they spend it on different things, but you'll see big like turn America around sort of project ideas and big bills and propaganda pushing it and stuff like that. And I think it will be infrastructure spending and the jobs that will create. I think that will be um, his big thing.
Yeah, it just
Uh,
was supposed to be in the first quarter of his administration, and it's not.
yeah,
So
no,
that's
it's
that's
first
the
quarter's
issue.
been more cultural, I guess. His focus with or immigration and all that, and I sort of the unfortunate thing about like the trade, the immigration trade happened well before this. It was Geo.
Geo,
I
yeah.
did post it. I did talk about it, and so yeah, no, I'm with you that the that's why I just think that you reach a point where he's got to sort of shift the focus, and the focus he'll shift to, I think, is infrastructure spending.
Yeah, tariffs are just too big. That's the leading part of that is, straightening out trade so you can have a fluid
Yeah.
pipeline for supplies and whatnot, and then go from there. So yeah, we're just pouting.
Oh yeah, we're pouting, and I think the um, tariff tariff resolutions one by one will definitely some pops and move the market here and there. But it's okay. So if you win the tariffs, that's a 10-year project. It's not a 6 month project.
Sure.
So that's the tariff trade as far as that goes. Be difficult because I mean to me, if companies sort of realize that, they'll just wait it out and they'll just do it like a siege mentality and slightly shift. Apple, oh, we'll make some shit in India, whatever, but moving to the U.S. and making iPhones, there's just a lot of reasons that probably won't happen. All right, so then into see here, yeah, the 10-year quiet. That's kind of what you want. So we did get the big spike in it, but yeah, I'm not. Again, it's not something I exactly just follow hour by hour or something, but you do want to keep an eye on it. And to me, the big signal, the 10-year spiking, uh, stocks are going to have trouble holding gains, especially in tech. So you get a lot of pop and fade. Just be mindful of that. This is a big driver of the whole 3-2 market as well. And uranium, again, kind of a weird chart, of course, but I said last week, I'm like, this is good. For it to park here for a while, good, because it's going to probably move higher off this. So I'm still liking a lot of uranium setups as well.
Yeah, I think it again, oversold sector, pouting sector.
Yeah.
Very likely to. There's just a high percentage of some sectors that are one bill, one bill or one declaration away from a pretty big recovery over um, a decent amount of time. It'd be a couple month move after some news, and until we get that, we get this low volume consolidation, and depending on the chart and the company or the commodity, a little bit of pullback, and then another consolidation, and then a little bit of pullback, and it's just what you expect when it's not getting its way. So I like all
Yeah.
those names. I had one last week or the week before, and you're on the other one this week. So I mean, to see them kind of working back in, very tradable charts.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll go to Bitcoin, and then we can talk SPY for a minute. So yeah, so it kind of recovered. Wanted this 85 area, which is kind of in the near the middle of a zone for me. The We didn't get a breakdown under 70,000. Probably uh, decent sign. Still kind of wait and see here. These are short duration trades for me though. I'm not building any swings and any minors just yet.
Yeah, you can play levels. Um,
Yeah.
I would just make sure you know the charts that you're in. I would on previous winners only. Um, yeah, still overall stuck in the range that we thought we'd be stuck in. So hard to
Yep.
predict for me. I don't really follow it as much as I used to. Um, just because it was used to be like fun news, and now it's really not. Are there what's it's like days of our lives back then when we were doing the FTX and the NFTs and all that stuff, and now it's just like really what's like the top three Bitcoin things going on right now. They're just not. They're not fun. They're not sexy. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of doubt, all that stuff. So, um,
Right, a lot of sort of open crime happening, and
Yeah.
like no enforcement of at all.
That was the
Um,
last Bitcoin thing I could think of. Isn't it South Korea or something? Still a lot of shit. Some people in South Korea or
North
Taiwan.
Korea, yeah,
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 they hacked Ethereum and
yeah.
yep, yeah. So I mean, yeah, with this, when my thesis was there's not going to be an altcoin season, um, that's not a good thing. I mean, that wasn't like something that's just going to really move the sector. Basically, I was just saying like this move, concentrate your attention on Bitcoin and Bitcoin related stuff, and keep it simple. MSTR coin, and then Mara, and then a couple other names. But that was the move from 60,000 to year 104, and then now we're kind of setting back up. It'd be easier to trade these if it had broken all the way back down, but it hasn't. So you do just quick hitters off the levels. All right, so then I will get to do it when I'm on here. A little preview for next time for people. Get on to Spy
Oh, nice.
and where we're at. I do have a contract to the upside to talk about that I haven't had in a long time. June 580. So I don't know what we had around there. That has enough time where it doesn't necessarily indicate a move to 580. Could indicate a move to 550 instead over the next 3 or 4 weeks. But yeah, it's the first time a call has broken into my list here in a while. So I was sort of interested in that.
Yeah, it's where the 50 is on the weekly. Just to retrace back to that consolidation, kind of where we dropped from.
It's paired with 545p for June sold. So
That's
it's in the money sold.
your current resistance. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means to you, but yeah, that's like that's an interesting hedge, P. That they have a P off the current resistance and they're back to the 50. I always am skeptical, mindful, this is where I'm a conspiracy theorist. So if there's some big positions in, and you would, I'm an ignorant conspiracy theorist because you could explain the mechanics a lot better. But I'm always in the mindset of there's some pretty large positions, especially here, that they're not going to sell. So while they're in a downward cycle or some consolidation, they sell things to make money that they know that are going to expire worthless. So I don't know how that trade would expire worthless. Like, is it worthless at 562 or something like that, right? But I always have that in my mind. Like, if they're selling these, it's because they don't want to leave the position. They're trying to make money. So what's the best way for them to make money off of those contracts? Like, what's their best case scenario?
The best case scenario is for it to pop into the middle of that zone.
So the 562 was like a perfect spot for them. Yeah, so that's what I would expect. That's how I read that when we talk about those kind of trades and numbers.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not the same like on one of the weed stocks. Like, I don't use that mentality on there, but when we come to the bigger names or the ones you're like, these aren't going to leave people's portfolios 100%. I do start to look at flow that way.
And on the downside, you have May 16th, 500p, and that one doesn't have much of a complement to it. There isn't your 1-2 punch. There isn't a September 450 or something like that. There's like a May 425 floating around. That's kind of I don't really read much into that one, but yeah, I don't see the complement there. So I think market can flash under 500 several times in the next 3-4 weeks, but it doesn't have an anchor to then pull it further down from that to me. Not for very long, anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, we didn't hang out there long at this pullback, this last test of that
Yeah.
zone. So,
Right.
we were still kind of with the inside the drop bar, which is 567 to 505. You get lower highs and higher lows in the consolidation, which gives you tighter candles, and I just think that's where we are here currently.
Yeah. So
What's your number for? All right, we're working back up out of here. Like, do you have a spot where you see that as?
well, yeah.
Or-
So I mean, I do think it's hold that 560 area, and we're good. I mean that's it to me.
Okay.
You don't want to flash into it too fast, and then if your mid candle is back under 550, then I think we're stuck there for a while. But yeah, I mean, if I would have to see what they do with that position I talked about, where they roll it from there. At if they were to take that at 580 and then push something 600 September, and all of a sudden we're in a totally different paradigm at that point for how these contracts have been working, like the past 6 months, where it's been put driven. So yeah, I mean, I think into the 560s and see some, them stick their neck out a bit with calls, like that would be what I'd look for.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm real close to that. So awesome. So just to kind of sum that up, another kind of tighter range this week. Is that what we're seeing? Is that what you're seeing on your side as well? Or?
Yeah, I think it can be as far as like the 3-2 market thing. I think you can get a couple big days and then like 3 flat days. I think you'll get days to frustrate some people. They'll just say this market's not tradable because their 0 DTEs didn't do well. Yeah, that'll be what's
Nice. I see probably the upper 5 like 17, 18 kind of being the pre-market flush you're going to get one day, and then don't fucking chase that, and then
right.
we're back to this 535, 540 kind of being the top, and just figuring that out probably for maybe a week or two. I don't know, the news is just so fluid that it's hard to predict SPY on a month and a half basis, but definitely just more tight range this week for me.
The news is tricky, especially the leaks, because then they'll deny the leak, and the leak will be true 3 days later. So a lot of that going on, and I think part of it's driven by there's some internal strife in Trump's camp on
oh sure
how to do all this, and so it's who can get in his ear first and get him to do something, and then other side pushes back, and there's a lot of that. You just got to be mindful, be nimble, and stick with quality setups or quick hitters.
Well, luckily that cycle's slowing down. I mean, we're not where you forget. At least I still remember what was going on Monday in the administration now. So
right, sure, yeah.
Perfect. Are you ready to get to work, P?
Yeah, let's do it.
Perfect. Like and subscribe, people. Link somewhere.